Me Roboco is a series about a boy called Bondo and this robot made / dangerous military weapon called Roboco, and it is full of parodies. Dragon Ball is a series about dragons and balls. I've discussed Me Roboco and its parodies in other videos before, but today we're going to look at every reference in Roboco to the legendary manga Dragon Ball. At the end of the video there will be cool statistics as well. Let's immediately start with Chapter 1. One of the first references in the series. Roboco's knees are compared to Nappa's knees by Bondo. Roboco's Nappa knees have become a running gag throughout the manga, and now Nappa has become synonymous with the Me and Roboco series. Even in real life, Roboco's Twitter handle, or extra handle, I don't know, X, is Roboco he's a Nappa. Roboco, the girl with Nappa knees. The author of Roboco knows the humorous potential of her man Nappa. Chapter 2 shows Roboco doing her version of a cute maid walk, namely a classic Dragon Ball rush. It even uses the same sound effect as when Cell blasts forward. In Chapter 3, Roboco does the typical Z-Warrior landing after flying. These two references are all you need to know to understand that Roboco is on the level of Goku mid at least. In Chapter 4, Roboco's head falls off, similar to what happened with Android 16. We also get another Z-Fighter landing in this chapter. And the next chapter, Roboco turns thin. Chapter 5 has a visual reference to the scene where Goku endures the super holy water, with the speed lines and Roboco in the same pose as the great ape monkey boy. In Chapter 7, Bondo says he's chilling like Krillin, which does not reference anything in particular. It is a localization of Bondo saying in the Japanese version that he's feeling Hechala, of course referring to the first Dragon Ball Z opening. Hechala is actually a rough Englishization of the Japanese slang word Hechara, which meaning is roughly it's no problem or I can handle it, basically saying he's carefree or chilling like Krillin. Chapter 8 is a battle chapter, and these two poses of Roboco in it look a lot like Goku's during the Frieza arc. Chapter 9 references Brute Waves, which is so obscure that the English manga of Dragon Ball doesn't even mention it by name. It is the radiation that comes from the moon that led Saiyans turn into great apes. Roboco's panties knew. And you didn't. Chapter 10 is Roboco do Goku's fighting pose, or Yamcha's Wolfang Fist pose, we are not sure. It could also just be a generic martial arts pose, or from some other battle series, but here we are. This will not be the last time you see a Yamcha pose in this video. Chapter 11 has Roboco working as a pizza deliverer, and to make sure she gets her order on location in time, she warms her makeup like how Goku warmed his body before using the Kaioken, and then proceeds to fly fast at a Kaioken speed. Roboco even flies past some iconic Dragon Ball wastelands. Chapter 12 is Roboco compare her knees to Nappa when he punched Tenshinhan's arm off, a savage moment used for comedy. In Chapter 14, Roboco compares her professional laugh advice that she came up with on the spot for Ruri to Krillin's death. It had to happen to give Ruri and Goku some confidence to do what had to happen. By the way, Ruri in a questioning way says Krillin's death, meaning she either doesn't understand the comparison or she just got spoiled, which is fucked up. Before Ruri's date proposal, Roboco also encourages Ruri by doing Vegeta's patented weird goodbye hand sign while leaning against a tree. In Chapter 15 we visit Jump headquarters where we spot various Jump related items, including the powerful rice cooker from the Piccolo arc, and two lackeys surrounding the chief editor of Jump while holding the big Namekian Dragon Balls. Our favorite Jump editor, Second Chair, also mentions Skyrim Tower, because if you work with Jump, Jump is all that you can talk about. In Chapter 20, Roboco ruins her diet, deflecting Bondo commenting on her appearance by using a no-no Masenko rhyme, then trying to turn him into chocolate like Majin Buu. And at the end of the chapter, she turns so big that she looks like Cell right before self-destructing. She turns out fine in the end too, just like Cell. Also, for you Dragon Ball fans, I want to ask real quick, in the manga, is the Masenko's first named appearance by Gohan? Or did Piccolo use it somehow beforehand? That always confused me. Well, now next chapter. Chapter 21 got Roboco in her thin form once more, but unfortunately it's a battle chapter, making the situation as bad as if Yamcha were to face Broly. When Roboco enters battle, she gets hit by cute anime girl battle damage, which surprises Bondo, and the stimulation kills him in a similar manner as to how Piccolo was killed by Nappa. Chapter 22 is all about Twitter, and we come to the revelation that follower counts actually equates to your power level. Popular rich kid Motso has a power level on par with Frieza. Madoka has a power level around what Kuririn had while fighting Guldo with 12,000 followers. My own power level is only 200 by the way. One of Roboco's tweets is this questionable remark about Kinkai. Unfortunately, Roboco got some hate on her Twitter, namely from a Tao Pai Pai Twitter account. This is the first of many Dragon Ball Twitter accounts in the series. Chapter 24 takes place at a manga award show, where the importance of it is made known by showing Goku's silhouette and a bunch of others too. Wow. Of course Toriyama is invited to this manga event as well, but anytime he has to fulfill a request, the light turns off, like when making a wish from Shenlong. When Eiichiro Oda comes to the event in his jet, people feel his aura radiating from afar, which the guys compared to the people on Namek feeling the chi of the Ginyu Force coming to their planet. In Chapter 26, Roboco becomes the ultimate knee and wants all other mates to join inside her to grow even more powerful. Roboco uses the same seduction technique Cell used to lure Android 18 into his tail to entice Meiko into joining Roboco's ultimate knee. Chapter 28 got Bondo accidentally participating in a food eating contest, but he says he doesn't have the same appetite necessary to make it out alive. When Roboco helps him out, she says Nappa's name while opening her mouth. Nappa. Nappa mentioned. Gachi Gorilla in chapter 29 is super jealous of his best friend Motsuo getting Valentine's chocolates, and so he says a similar line to when Goku first turned Super Saiyan. Get away from me while I still have a thread of rationality left! He also transforms afterwards, and I think it's supposed to be inspired by Super Saiyan 3, considering his long hair and lack of eyebrows. Later in the chapter he also turns into an actual gorilla, but I think we're stretching this too far now. Chapter 32 has Roboco's Pantisei Yunzabit, which is the super random location where Kami landed on Earth with his spaceship. Roboco author Shuhei Miyazaki. Why do you remember this name? Also, Roboco does a Z-Fighter landing pose again. Chapter 33 is Meiko wanting to become more like Roboco, and during her training, she does a variation of one of Roboco's earlier gags, namely reenacting Nappa and pointing out her knees, this time reenacting the scene of Nappa planting the Cyberman/cultivars. In chapter 35, Roboco has a jealousy of ×4 for Ruri's manga drawing skills, like Goku's Kaioken ×4. Chapter 38 has maybe the most obscure weird Dragon Ball reference, and also my favorite. Bondo goes on a date with the cute Madoka, but because he is a big dork, he does not know how to compliment her. So what happens? Bondo wants to compliment Madoka's pink scrunchie, so he says it has a nice shade of pink, and it reminds him of the lines on Piccolo's muscles. This does not get a great reaction, because of course the manga version of Piccolo has yellow muscles, while in the anime his muscles are pink. So the compliment was totally confusing for Madoka, and that's why it didn't land, of course. Not because Madoka just doesn't know Dragon Ball. I love that dweeb Bondo. Also, Roboco gives Bondo some Saiyan drip to rizz up his date, parodying the chapter where Kuririn gets to wear Saiyan armor and comments on how light it is. But of course, Bondo doesn't wear it on his actual date, unlike Kuririn who had a date with Pain. In chapter 39, Roboco thinks she's on bad terms with Bondo, and acts like they are in a dramatic quarrel. When Bondo asks her what is wrong, she says he should ask himself that. This is kind of lost in translation, but this is a reference to when Chi-Chi sees Goku again when they've become adults. In Japanese you can see that the exact same line was used. Chapter 40 shows Roboco doing her elbow training, and she does a similar pose to what Goku does with his elbow attacks. And this chapter also has Roboco, instead of wish ribbons, thinking of making matching wish porungas, which allow for 3 wishes of course. In chapter 41 we meet up with some aliens with laser guns that allow for some great Dragon Ball references to be made. Roboco accidentally shoots Gorilla with an alien gun, making him end up in this iconic pose. When the aliens show up, Roboco goes in with the Dragon Ball blast off to attack them as revenge for her accidentally shooting Gorilla. The aliens shoot Roboco in retaliation, but Roboco dodges, which makes Gorilla get hit again, once more ending up in this iconic pose. He ends up fine though. If you look closer at the way Roboco dodges, you see it is actually a parody of Goku as a Super Saiyan fighting Frieza, which is continued by parodying the scene where Goku taunts Frieza to hit him. Hit me. Great page layout. Roboco seems to take the hit in a badass way like Goku, but then she ends up falling anyway. This is one of my all-time favorites. She's wearing some Spopovich panties too, as you can see. Roboco would beat the shit out of Spopovich. The chapter ended with Roboco bringing the aliens back to their planet. In this bonus Twitter post we got to see what she looked like coming back. It seems like yard rat fashion is popular across the entire galaxy. Chapter 42. Gorilla's spirit being blasted by Roboco's Roboco beam looks just like Cell when he finally dies. In chapter 43, part of Motsuo's studies is Namekian language lessons, which he does at the same time as all his other lessons to make sure he has time to be with his buddies. How sweet. Then, chapter 44. Roboco being stuck in a washing machine is a reference to the chapter 48 is all about Roboco's weird texting habits. She asks a pop quiz question about the finalists of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, and when she breaks down, she sends a message about wanting to be hugged, like how Cell hugged Gohan. Don't we all want that? Chapter 53 has Roboco training her knees, part of which is her taking the super duper holy water apparently. At the end of the chapter, Roboco's knees potentially exploding gets compared in power to Nappa's Kung finger attack when he arrived on Earth. It is quite strong. In chapter 60, during Gorilla's Riz montage, there's another nod to Piccolo's sacrifice scene. Chapter 63, a Reddit's Twitter account appears. This is where the recurring appearance of Twitter haters named after Dragon Ball characters' body parts truly starts. Chapter 68 has a small cameo of Goku at the Jump headquarters. In Chapter 70, Roboco does an impression of Frieza mid-transformation to make her friends laugh. This is another one of my faves. I wish I could do that for my friends. Chapter 79. After a harsh battle, Roboco holds her arm like Vegeta usually does. She also uses the same line Majin Buu used when fighting his evil half, which translates to something like, I guess we really can't win this one. Vegeta should really get that left arm of his checked out sometime. Chapter 82 has the main duo talking about Twitter again. This time comparing Roboco's follower count to the power levels of Nail and the Ginyu Force. And there are many more Dragon Ball Limp fan hater accounts appearing, like Reddit's elbow, Vegeta's forehead, Frieza's tail, and Piccolo's antenna. There's also surprisingly deep-cut Dragon Ball reference in Roboco's 4-Koma comic she made, with a guy trying to calculate Roboco's beauty level with the scouter. But the scouter explodes because her beauty level is too high, even though the scouter was the latest model. That's so specific. I love it. Chapter 86. Roboco has created her own original manga called Drag on Ball, a golfing manga. It features characters that look like Dragon Ball characters, but obviously aren't, such as Son Goku, his friend Krill Lin, who calls Son Goku Son Gohan due to his accent, and there's also a talking turtle. Songo uses special techniques such as the Kame Kame 4 and Spirit Bath Bombs, the pinnacle of unfunniness. Chapter 91 is a cosplay chapter, so there are plenty of cosplays here, such as Frieza, Android 16, and Bulma. Also, Nappa gets mentioned. A cosplay of a popular character that starts with Na, and here's a hint. Ni, that's gotta be Nappa, that must be Nappa, that has to be Nappa. Nami. Famous cosplayer Anako is also shown. Roboco says there's a rumor going around that Roboco is the evil part Anako threw away to become the #1 cosplayer, like Piccolo and Kami, which is true. Anako, we love your Roboco cosplay. Chapter 96 has a serious battle scene that Roboco tackles with comedy. So of course, she does a parody of the best comedy battle series Dragon Ball by doing a famous double after image technique, and succeeding, I guess. Chapter 97 shows a collection of various Dragon Ball figures. Look at them all! In Chapter 98, Roboco acts like she's Rudy Dragon, but also acts like she doesn't know what Rudy Dragon is about. So when she does Rudy's signature pose, she clarifies she was actually doing Yamcha's Wolfing Fist pose. Oh Roboco, you scamp. Chapter 104 got another Piccolo death parody, probably the most parodied Dragon Ball scene in Roboco by now. Chapter 105 has Roboco's egoism showing through her saying a very Frieza line. During her training in this chapter, Roboco mimics part of Goku's training when he traveled to Namek. And then there is Tandy Senpai staring off into space all coolly like Vegeta. And yes, Roboco gets trained by a giant chicken Tandy in this series. Yes. Chapter 106 has a random Shenlong cameo. I'm assuming it's a reference to the Dragon Ball Z opening where Shenlong flies in the clouds. In Chapter 107, some more of Roboco's training is shown, which is similar to the training of the second strongest character of all time when he went to Namek. After doing this, Roboco becomes the legendary Super Order Mate herself. Just kidding, she just bought a wig and got contact lenses because the film crew was coming, and she wanted to look flashy. Also during the montage of everyone spending their final days alive, long story, Roboco is seen eating in a similar manner to Gohan during his first training days. In Chapter 109, the Jump Plus surface being a rival created by Jump itself is compared to Piccolo and Kami and Fat Buu and Evil Buu, and also Zoro and Mihawk. There are a couple more hater accounts with Dragon Ball names in this chapter, such as Popovich's forehead, Vegeta's head, Reddit's elbow, Frieza's eyebrow, Chaozu's singular hair, Nappa's knees, which is of course Roboco's account, Pilaf's ears, Murasaki's bamboo, Tao's braid, Bacterian's armpit, Ginyu's eyebrows, and Launch's ribbon. I bet even Toriyama wouldn't be able to name this many obscure Dragon Ball characters. Damn son, Goku. Chapter 112 is a Cinderella parody. Fairy godmother Roboco puts a spell on Bondorella. Swopovich Yamu. I love this parody because of course the original spell from the Disney movie is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, which these fellas got their name from. Roboco is aware of this connection, so she uses a different set of characters from the Boo arc, Swopovich Yamu. Kind of incredible. This spell gives Bondorella a Vegeta battlesuit instead of a dress, but those shoulder pads won't get in the way, particularly referencing this scene in Dragon Ball. In Chapter 113, Roboco has made a TikTok video using the Dragon Ball Z opening song. Chala, chala. In Chapter 114, to support the national Japanese football team, Roboco made a wishing poronga for them. Kinda weird, but cool continuity with Chapter 40. Chapter 116, Roboco misremembers that she killed our friends Motsuo and Gorilla and that they came back as cyborgs, confusing them for Tao Pai Pai. In chapter 121, Roboco auditions for a Japanese TV show with his all-havery catchphrase, maybe bad pronunciation, which he does so well that it is akin to Muten Roshi performing the Kamehameha for the first time in the Dragon Ball series. Even the reactions are the same. In chapter 122, Roboco mentions that her power level is lowering due to being hungry, very much akin to Goku. In chapter 123, Roboco visits West City and nearly swallows a Dragon Ball like King Piccolo once did. Roboco messages that she is so excited she feels like Piccolo after fusing with Nail. I feel great, I can win, I can do this! She also visits Great Island in that chapter, and oh yeah, I made another video with Hunter x Hunter references in Roboco too, hey. Chapter 125 is a battle chapter, so of course there are some Dragon Ball parodies here. This may not be a parody of Dragon Ball per se, but this scene of Roboco knocking out Gorilla so he won't fight reminds me of Vegeta knocking out Trunks and Gohan before he goes to fight Boo. It looks more similar to this scene from Hunter x Hunter though. But if you've seen my other videos, you know that there are a lot of Dragon Ball influences in Hunter x Hunter. Now back to Roboco. Roboco does Vegeta's rapid fire energy blast attack, which he desperately wants to prove is a functional attack. A true Vegeta fan. There's 2 Z-Fighter landings in this chapter, and Roboco, while attacking the robot goons, quotes Gohan, saying that the Cell Juniors need to suffer more during his Super Saiyan 2 frenzy. This robot dude also reminds me of Mechanical Man number 8. Chapter 127 references one of the most underrated badass scenes ever. When Gohan is watching Cell and his dad fight, everyone is in awe of the fight. Goku says he gives up and appoints Gohan as Cell's next opponent. And the only development that Gohan is surprised about is that the fight ended already, since he doesn't think either of them was fighting for real yet. Holy shit, that is badass. Gohan is already way above that level. In the Roboco context, it is Bondo seeing Roboco playing ping pong like a monster. Bondo quotes Gohan, and then the two of them have a match of the ages. Chapter 128, Roboco lies in the same pose as Rokum after his defeat. Chapter 130, here Roboco's panties say, "Smile already, Vegeta," which is a pretty obscure line from Cell. Like I forgot he ever said anything like this. Chapter 131. Roboco claims she and Layla are rivals like Goku and Vegeta. And she wears a Goku wig, signifying that she is the Goku in the rivalry. Which makes sense seeing as Roboco is the most powerful being in manga, surpassing even El Hermano. In chapter 136, Roboco goes through Goku's various training sessions to obtain a signature move. This includes the training on Kami's lookout with Mr. Popo, meditating, catching bubbles on King Kai's planet, and staring off into the distance with wind blowing like Dragon Ball characters love to do. But Roboco has basically done every Goku training session by now, right? Chapter 138. Roboco might look kinda like a Kiss member here, but I was thinking maybe Frieza? In chapter 142, Roboco visits a Chinese restaurant, where someone who looks like King Chappa works. He even uses his 8-hand technique to create the dishes. Wowie zowie. This is not in the chapter itself, but when chapter 144 released, a Twitter extra drawing was done to celebrate the series' 3rd anniversary. Yeah! And as you can see, it looks like the last page of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai arc. In chapter 148, we infiltrate the Ordermate headquarters, which interestingly looked like the Red Ribbon Army headquarters as shown in chapter 146. When getting into the HQ, Roboco loses her lower body, clearly displaying her Bojack underwear. I think that this is the only anime-only character referenced in Roboco. Having only half a body now, Roboco compares herself to Frieza at the end of the fight with the legendary Super Saiyan Super Saiyan Goku. Chapter 149 introduces us proper to the mother computer Maboroshi, which looks super similar to Dr. Garo's lab, another Red Ribbon connection. This Cell arc theme is furthered in chapter 150, where the mother computer reveals she had camera robots tracking Roboco to create a stronger version of her, Black Roboco. This is of course similar to Cell's backstory. And yes, Roboco has received an evil version of herself called Black 2. Truly Goku's female counterpart. After Black Roboco is seemingly knocked unconscious in one hit, if you know you know, she stands up for one final unexpected attack, similar to Piccolo Jr. in his fight with Goku. This arc is known as the ChatGPT arc, by the way. Best arc name ever. In chapter 152, Roboco does a Gallic Gun pose. She's both a Goku and Vegeta fan, like the best of us are. To quickly fill up a chapter of doing literally nothing, Roboco quickly adds some non-filler content on the final page, including a single panel of training Bondo, which looks similar to Piccolo training Gohan. Good job. Chapter 154. Goku vs Piccolo gets reenacted by Bondo and Michelle, the 12-year-old foreign student, during the sports day, where they played at one Japanese sports day game they happened to do in My Hero Academia. The attention to detail here is crazy. At the end of this amazing attack, we see Bondo knocked out, laying in a familiar pose. Poor dolt. Chapter 155. Motsuo's dad has made a YouTube video where he spends the day with that guy's hair, in West City, somehow. In chapter 156, Roboco creates her own original character, who happens to carry a Nyoibo power pole and has Kame tattooed on his chest. You can spot the other inspirations yourself. It's an original character though. We recently entered the Across the Roboco verse arc in chapter 157, with the canon event among the universes being that Gorilla fucking dies. In classic battle manga Roboco's universe, Gorilla dies in a similar way to Kuririn on Namek, because of course. In chapter 159, Showa era Roboco sacrifices herself while doing the Piccolo pose. Roboco does Vegeta's iconic battle pose in this panel. Here, Roboco's panties got the word 4-star ball on it, of course referring to Grandpa Gohan's Dragon Ball. Bonus time, bonus time! Some more Twitter posts I didn't know where to fit. For Roboco's birthday, she posted her coming out of her cell-shaped carcass. To gain 100,000 more Twitter followers, Roboco tried gathering some Genki just like Goku. Roboco also made this post to celebrate getting 10,000 followers on Twitter. Epic Kaioken. And finally, for the anime movie poster, yes, there's an anime movie coming out for Roboco, we got Roboco doing Goku's instant transmission pose. Very cool. Now, the moment that we've all waited for. The amount of Roboco chapters with a Dragon Ball reference in it is 72 chapters. That is almost half of the chapters in the entire manga so far, although most of these chapters only got some small nod to Dragon Ball, like the Z Fighter landing pose and the Twitter hate accounts, so it's not like Dragon Ball knowledge is necessary to enjoy Roboco. Please listen to what I have to say now. Read Me Roboco is the final thing I'll say, so yeah, read Me Roboco, it's a dope ass manga, and I wouldn't have made this video if Roboco wasn't dope. Also like the video, and check the other Roboco and Dragon Ball videos on my channel. I'm Jonathan Carter, and read Me Roboco. Bye bye!